sexy, provocative, clever, cruel, cunning at times.
You can call me whatever you want to. It's not me.
Morals or values, are they overrated?
Does love have morals?
What is this love that you talk about?
It's not millennial. My love is eternal.
Spiritual enlightenment, is it a hoax?
It's not my cup of tea. I prefer coffee.
What's your opinion on godmen? And some are practicing, some are in jail, but we do have a lot of godmen.
I knew one godman and he's God of my heart, Bhagwan Rajneesh.
Tough titties.
Hey, don't be so stupid, tough titty.
As I'm sitting down next to her, I can almost feel her magnetic aura. Once a sannyasini, now the toast of the town, Ma Anand Sheela. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, should I be calling you Ma Anand Sheela? What should I be addressing you as?
Call me whatever you feel like.
Sheela's fine?
Sheila is perfect.
Okay, great. So, Sheela, when I look at your interviews from the 80s, and internet is full of them. And of course, the Netflix documentary Wild Wild Country. You come across as this sexy, provocative, yet clever, cruel, maybe cunning at times. How many of these adjectives do you not agree with?
2.
Mm-hmm.
Cruel and cunning.
Okay.
I was always upfront speaker. When you are upfront, you are not cunning. What I feel, I say it in the front, right at your face. Cunning is people who do not speak, they create intrigue behind your back. I'm not that person. Cruel, I was never. But you can call me whatever you want to.
That doesn't affect you?
Doesn't affect me because it's not me.
Okay. But when you look back at the Sheela, who was, at the helm of things, she was running the affairs at Rajneesh Ashram, and when you look at the woman sitting here today, do you feel, in a sense, you're the same person, or has time and life changed you?
Now I am 40 years more experienced than before. My base is the same. I have learned much during these 40 years. When you become older, you have other perspective. I was young, flamboyant, very much in love with Bhagwan. Now, I am still very energetic, maybe because of age, not so flamboyant. But I love what I do and what I represent. I love what I have created. There was, before I had created, with help of Bhagwan sannyasins, with their energy, my energy combined together, we had created historic city. Yeah. Today, I'm creating historic homes for senior and underprivileged handicapped people. But creation is the same.
It never stops.
The base of the creation is same. Before, the love for Bhagwan had made this creation of city. Now, love for my parents have created these homes.
Sheela, when you say love for Bhagwan Rajneesh, you call him Bhagwan, what do you define love as? And I'm asking this in perspective of how millennials or how young people look at love. We quickly fall in love, we quickly fall out of love, and yet you've been in love with the same man for decades. what is your definition? What is this love that you talk about?
It's not millennial.
It's not.
My love. My love is eternal. I don't know myself the definition of love. How can I define it? It is a deep feeling, motivating feeling. It is a feeling of creation.
Okay.
It is not a feeling of compromise or corruption or feeling of sexuality. No, none of it. It is not a feeling of looking for security.
Okay.
It is simply dissolving into him, into his eyes. It is feeling of disappearance.
Well, that's a quotable quote right there, Sheela. Thank you for that. But when I look at your life, Sheela, and I see, one part of your life I think is enough for a lifetime for somebody, but yet you've seen so much, from the life here in Pune to Oregon, and then finally when you went to Germany. And yet, it's so different, one with so much power and power over people, and then to a life of almost anonymity. How does one adjust to these 2 or 3 different facets of life?
Let me shock you. Power was one part that world saw. But such power of love doesn't disappear. That is your wealth. That is your diamonds of life. That creativity gives you that power. That power, I carried it in unpleasant times. And that same power, I carried it to create something new after I left Bhagwan. It is the power of basic integrity. It is power of love where you don't compromise. That is the power of commitment. We are so ready to compromise if it benefits. Sheela doesn't do that. And that power brings me here with you today. That people are still fascinated, interested.
Yeah, you're
They
relevant
cannot
today.
ignore.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not just today, Sheela, I feel that you were able to achieve back then what even, 3 decades later, even today, women struggle to do, which is carve out an identity and personality for themselves, and not be somebody's someone, not be somebody's wife, somebody's daughter. And yet you were able to do that despite being in proximity to somebody who had such a big personality. You were not just Osho's secretary or lover, as you call yourself, but you were Sheela. And was that
Right.
something that happened by chance, or was that something that you wanted to do and you made it happen?
No, I had no plan of it. I fell in love with him, and all I wanted to do, be near him, where I can look at his beautiful eyes and dissolve in it. I got lucky. I hit the jackpot. He chose me his secretary. He gave me an opportunity to express my love around him, among his people. And you can't blame me for hitting jackpot.
Sure.
The whole world plays jackpot. I just got lucky. And I have to thank my father, mother for this luck. They
Because-
brought me to him.
Do you remember the first meeting?
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
And you were a young girl.
Yes. And that love has kept me young even at the age of 70.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And love is that phenomenon that cuts all barriers of age.
True, true. So when you have that sort of commitment towards somebody, Sheela, what is your definition of feminism or individuality? How does one become an individual while being so committed and so, so in love or, devoted to someone, yet have your own personality and individuality? How does that happen?
It is very simple. When you love someone without a reason, you fall back on yourself.
Okay.
And you become aware of your own individuality. This love made me aware of my individuality. This love made me aware of my commitment. This love made me aware of my potential. When someone can love me so, someone who has such trust in me, then that is my potential. And if the person I love has this trust in me and my potential, how can I deny it? So I didn't get involved with any ideology. I didn't get involved with any fixed ideas.
You didn't?
No. I simply fell in love.
And everything else was organic?
It came by itself. I was ready to fulfill this love.
Sheela, they say that everything is fair in love and war. And when we look at your story, when we read about all that you did to make, follow through an idea, like you're saying, that you were so committed, in reference to that, do you think morals or values, are they overrated?
Does love have morals? Did your saints like Meera, Kabir, and others, when they were singing songs of divine that they were in love with, did you think about it? When Lalla ran without clothes in the hills, singing song of divinity, did people bother about it? And what is moral? If you can't have your own integrity, what will you do with moral? It won't be worth the toilet paper. Be true to yourself. And I was true to myself.
Do you pray?
No. I'm not a spiritual person in that matter. Okay. For me, love is what I do. I love people around me. I take care of them. And I be true to themselves.
Okay. So, spiritual enlightenment, is it a hoax? Is there something like?
It's not my cup of tea. I prefer coffee. And my coffee is love.
Yeah. You're just rebranding it, isn't it? You're just calling it love, but it's the same thing.
I don't know. I know love.
Yeah.
I don't know spirituality, and I don't want to know it. It's not my choice.
But are you happy?
Do I look unhappy?
You look terrific.
You see? Love suits me.
Yes. Sheela, what's your opinion on godmen? I mean, India has plenty of godmen. Some are practicing, some are in jail, but we do have a lot of godmen. What's your take on them?
I don't know them. I knew one godman, and he's God of my heart. And there is Bhagwan Rajneesh.
You know, Bhagwan, that word for India, it has a lot of weight, that word, you know, and perhaps in the West it was, you know, used as a title, as a name for somebody, but here it has a lot of meaning. What does that word mean to you?
It means the same, God of my heart, someone I love so dearly. And for me, that word is just a name also. The other day, I met a teacher, clothes teacher. His name was Bhagwan. And I put my arms around him and I said, "Come here, Bhagwan. How are you?"
Yeah.
For me, it brought back wonderful memories. And if the name has such power, then who sits in my heart, imagine what power that has.
But you've often said this, Sheela, that everything that happened in Oregon, he knew it. I mean, that this was in his knowledge. Do you think that you got a raw end of the deal, and despite all of that, you still have so much love?
How could I have a raw end of the deal when I have him? And I truly have him. Even today, he doesn't exist anymore, but I still have him in my heart.
Even though he may have abandoned you?
I don't think he abandoned me. I don't feel that.
And that's what matters.
And if he abandoned me, it is his problem, not mine. Why do I bother?
My final question to you, Sheela, and this is something that I am asking for myself, because I suck at comebacks. I'm so bad at them. Somebody says nasty things to me, I'll be quiet, and 5 days later I'll say, "Arey, ye bola, I should have said this," you know. And you made an art out of comebacks, whether it was, you know, tough titties, or whether it was, "I'm not going to run for cover." Was there any comeback that you impressed yourself with, and how does one improve on their comebacks?
You know, I was not looking for coming back. When I said tough titty, I was not trying to portray something else. I was simply saying to this journalist, "Hey, don't be so stupid. Don't ask me stupid question." So I was not actively doing anything. I was simply responding to him, and these words came out of me, tough titty. When a journalist like you asks me such fine questions, all I can say, thank you.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Same here.